Jackie Robinson up, line to left, and was safe in the fourth inning, beating out a bunt. The scorer now has decided to give Woodling an error on his wide throw that enabled Reese to take second. Which is the third error of the ball game for the Yankees. And now with a great base runner on third and a great bunter up, despite the fact that the 2 out, you can look for even a 2-out squeeze. You can look for anything right here.
Any knowledge of sports, there's a good chance you've heard of these athletes. Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Serena Williams, Bo Jackson, Jerry Rice, and Willie Mays. Now what do all of these athletes have in common, you might ask? Well, they all are African Americans. If you were to look back under 100 years ago, none of these athletes would have been allowed to compete. This all changed with one man, a man named Jackie Robinson.
Jack Robinson was a star athlete growing up, as well was his older brother, Mac.
Mac had competed in the 1936 Summer Olympics, where he beat the Olympic record in the 200-meter dash, but only to hold the silver medal as he finished behind Jesse Owens. Jack attended UCLA and became an instant star. He started going by the name Jackie. That's what his teammates called him. In his first UCLA year, he competed in football, basketball, baseball, and track and field. He could have been a star in all 4 sports, but as we know, he changed the world in baseball. As World War II was raging all across the world, Jackie had been drafted in 1942 to a desegregated cavalry unit in Fort Riley, Kansas. After completing officer candidate training, Jackie was commissioned as a second lieutenant. On July 6, 1944, an event happened that ended Jackie's career in the military forever. Jackie boarded an army bus alongside a fellow officer's wife. These buses were segregated, and when Jackie sat next to a white woman on the bus, Jackie was asked to move. Jackie declined, and the bus driver called the military police, and Jackie was placed into custody. Jackie was sent to a court against an all-white panel of 9 officers. The experience Robinson faced during the court proceedings would play into how he would be able to break the color barrier in sports. After the military, Jackie decided to try his luck again on the baseball scene. At the same time as Jackie started to get back into baseball, there was a lot of talk going around in the major leagues whether they needed to desegregate the leagues or not. Racist Commissioner Kennesaw Mountain Landis had died in 1944 and was replaced by Happy Chandler, who was not on either side of the desegregation baseball argument. In 1944, there was a vote put out by all 16 MLB owners on whether they wanted to desegregate baseball or not. 15 out of the 16 owners voted against desegregation. The only one who voted for it was none other than Branch Rickey, owner of the Brooklyn Dodgers. After this vote had gone out, Rickey decided that it was his duty to end segregation in baseball. So he sent out scouts to watch games in the Negro League. They came to the conclusion to hire Jackie Robinson. Although Jackie was not the top player in the Negro League, he had a lot of character and had faced a lot of racism before, as well as he wasn't a bad player either. On October 23, 1945, Rickey signed Jackie Robinson to a $600 per month deal with the Montreal Royals. Training 1946. Jackie Robinson was to report to the Royals camp in Daytona Beach, Florida. He was immediately faced with racism from his teammates, coaches, fans of the team, and normal everyday Floridians. Jackie had a tough spring training mentally and physically. He was struggling on the plate and wasn't standing out as a star fielder he should have been. A reporter for the Royals quoted, "If he had been white, he would have been cut already." The team also faced some challenges during spring training trying to find games. This was because many teams did not want to play against a black man. An example of this came when the team traveled from Daytona Beach to Jacksonville to find out that their game had been canceled because the lights weren't working. The game was in the afternoon. Even with a poor spring training, Jackie was given a spot on the team and traveled up to Montreal with his wife Rachel. When they first got to Montreal, they started looking for a house to buy and were shocked by the kindness of the citizens of Montreal, letting them into their homes and showing them around. This gave Robinson a great first impression of the city of Montreal. In Jackie's first game of the season on the road in Jersey City on April 18, 1946, he went 4 for 5 with a home run, 2 stolen bases, and 4 runs scored. The following series, the team returned home to Montreal to find out that the fans had a new hero in Jackie. Throughout the season, Jackie obviously faced hate from the niche crowd in Montreal. However, as the season went on, the crowd became smaller and smaller. He had gained the support from the city of Montreal and was tearing up the league. By the end of the regular season, Jackie led the team in plate performances, hits, walks, batting average, and on-base percentage. The team won the International League Championship against Syracuse and then went on to play in the Little World Series against Louisville. Having to play in Kentucky started the series off bad for Jackie. He was required to stay in a separate hotel from the team and faced severe racism from the fans in the stands. In Game 4, Robinson hit a walk-off single in the 10th inning to tie the series up by 2. Montreal went on to win the next 2 games and win the series. The fans in Montreal understood this was going to be the last time they were going to see Robinson play, as he would be moved up to the major leagues next year. So he received a huge standing ovation at his final curtain call, and once the final game of the series had been played, the mob loved him and ran over and lifted him above their head. Sam Milton of the Pittsburgh Courier wrote that there were tears in Robinson's eyes when the masses lifted him over their shoulders. Malton famously described the scene as probably the only day in history that a black man ran from a white mob with love instead of lynching on its mind. Robinson went on the following year to break the color barrier of professional baseball on April 15, 1947. His legacy will never be forgotten. Every year on April 15th, every player in the league wears a jersey with the number 42 on the back of it to celebrate Jackie Robinson Day. In 2017, there are over 60 African American players in the MLB. Although these numbers have dropped down significantly since the 80s, in 1984, about 120 African Americans were playing baseball in the MLB. The diversity of the game of baseball has changed, and there is a growing population of Latino Americans playing the game. Even though they may not have seen Jackie Robinson as their hero per se, without him, they wouldn't be playing the professional sport either.